Well, here we are again.
Here we are. Good morning. This is the Victoria's Soul Podcast. I'm Victoria, and this is my mom, Gabriel. And we recorded this episode already, but it didn't save, so we're doing it again. We waited a couple days, and then we're doing it again. So
we'll see if we say the same things or if we have great new ideas, because it's many days since then.
Many days since then. I think we probably have already started talking about something.
Yeah, we do
more
have a new
interesting
topic.
this morning. I did a little recording after we talked on Friday. We talked Friday or Wednesday?
Wednesday. We tried to make a recording on Wednesday.
And then I did a little bit later, and I showed all the yarn that I have, and I showed my socks that I'm wearing.
Ooh,
and
yes.
I showed other socks that I have in progress. I think the only thing that's changed is the fact that I added a neon toe to this crema sock Homespun House yarn. The blue is Bubble by Hedgehog Fibers. It's just a yarn I've had for a long time. But I thought they'd go really nicely together.
Yeah.
And I am at the toe point now, so maybe later today I'll finish the sock up.
That little sprinkling of blue there.
Yes.
And reminded me of
what?
Pixie dust.
Oh yeah. I liked that. And before you go today,
Yes.
you need to try on that other sock.
I will try on
her
that.
a pair of Pebbles and Pathways by Hey Brownberry that I showed you. This one that she needs to try on before I can finish it.
Yay!
So it's pretty tall. I think I'm close. I just don't know. Our legs are different sizes. So, and I lost a stitch. Hold on.
Okay.
I guess nobody knows about the progress that you have made on any of your things since the middle of November. So please share again. You've got your basket and your things.
Well, since we've talked in early December, I finished two things, and one was the seventh sister shawl. So this pattern is called Seventh Sister, and I've made 7 of them. And this one is probably my favorite because this is baby alpaca with some merino wool, and it's the other 7 sister shawls I made with fingering weight merino wool. This almost feels like a sweater when I wear it, so I really like the coziness of it, and I like how the cables show up, and you could wear it as a skirt if you ever.
I think I'm too big for that.
If you ever can't find anything to wear, this can be your skirt.
You look a little elastic.
So that I'm wearing a lot. I've been wearing that throughout. And this one is another Linus pattern, and this one is made from Chelsea Luxe yarns, a cobblestone light blue. I think it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's got the little nubs on it, and I love the texture. And I'm holding mohair with both the cobblestone and her Chelsea Luxe
Rose gold.
With
Stellina.
With Stellina. And this is a special shawl to me because I started making it at about the time that I found out that that I had, because it's been removed, some breast cancer. And so pink being the color of breast cancer awareness, I thought I shall make a shawl that I will use when I'm at the doctor's offices and at the hospital. And so I've kind of become a little comfort to me when I go and I'm anxious. And I have, once I finished it, I wore it, and it's so soft because of the mohair. So it'll always remind me of, I'm not done with treatment. I still have radiation to do. But
you can make a radiation shawl.
Yeah, I thought maybe.
There's a Stephen West pattern has the word radiate in it. Or
is it? Really?
Radial or something.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very helpful to have a knitting project when you're waiting at doctor's offices, and passes the time and makes you relax.
What are you going to be knitting on tomorrow when we go? The sleeve?
No, this is too heavy to take. I'll be working on the bee mandarin shawl.
Right.
So.
But you've got this.
Yeah. This is my second turtle dove sweater. I decided to have two colors, the light blue on top and the black on the bottom. Obviously, no. This I haven't finished.
Your arms?
I haven't finished the sleeve on this one, but we're gonna.
Yes, we'll pick it up. They'll pick them up. We'll
pick up the stitches, and then I will finish that this week. And I think I like it. It's a little.
I was just thinking, when you wet block it, we can actually stretch the neckline open more, which will pull the blue over your shoulders more, and will take up some of the slack of the. We were talking about on Wednesday that maybe you've lost a little weight, and so it's not as fitting as the other.
Maybe, yeah.
The other one you made.
Mm-hmm. And anyway, yeah, it was. I started this a little while ago in October.
You're so close. It'll just be nice to.
Yeah.
How have we done? And sometimes, knits, even if they don't look exactly how we thought, we can kind of grow into them, or we can just wear them around the house.
Yep.
When you're cold. Even if it's not exactly the fit that you would love.
Yeah, we were talking this morning about how we are in our society.
Oh, you want me to read the thing?
Yeah. So we are in
This is the Mindfulness of Knitting by Rachael Matthews, which we both got from the library recently. And there's a section called Itchy versus Soft. Mm-hmm. And she says, I suspect that our skins were always sensitive to lanolin and the prickle of wools, but we are forgetting how to build up our soft underlayers. Wearing 2 or 3 layers of clothing has become too hot, and now we are cocooned in central heating. When I teach textiles in the university, I have to dress for central heating, wearing 1 thin underlayer and a lighter weight top layer. On the days I wish to impress my students in a traditional Aran cable jumper or fuzzy Shetland fair isle, I tend to overheat. So she talks about merino here and stuff. But yeah, we were just briefly talking about the fact that the kids, your grandkids,
and the students
never wear like jackets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a piano teacher, so when my students come to piano, very rarely do they actually have a coat on. They're just they're not willing to put on a layer to protect themselves because they're used to going from the car into another heated place. And
we don't live in a very cold place. I mean, most of winter has been like in the 50s.
Yeah.
Maybe high 40s. And then we get a couple weeks here and there, days when it's cold. And then everybody's freezing because they haven't. We just don't think it's going to last. So we just kind of whine about it for a little while.
Yeah. So I have the first turtle dove I made, as soon as I put that on, I think my temperature goes up at least 10 degrees. And then I noticed that I'm hot in the house, so rather than take off the sweater, I should just turn down the heat.
Well, you've also talked about being really cold during piano lessons.
Yes, because I have a door.
Yeah, the door's coming open and closed all the time.
Close to where I have my chair.
And you're not moving.
Yep, I'm stationary for hours. So it is nice to have something warm.
Well, and you said the book talked also about softness.
Yes, I thought that was an interesting reflection on how, I am a softness snob. It's like, why would I want to work with wool that's all scratchy? I want it to be soft. But as she points out in the Mindfulness of Knitting, that the softer wools are then created, and they don't have the longevity that our 100% wool sweaters do, that become almost heirlooms that get passed down, and they're just as good as they were 20 years ago. Whereas our softer wool sweaters pill.
Well, I think all wool pills, but definitely the shorter, softer fibers don't last as long.
Yeah.
And then that's the interesting thing about when I've talked to people who think more expensive stuff doesn't pill, or 100% natural fibers won't pill, and because acrylics pill, and that's just that's the counterintuitive to think the more expensive wool that you buy should have more longevity to it. But that's not necessarily the case, because we value softness so highly that the softer wools with the shorter fibers tend to fall apart faster because they're just not as strong.
Yeah.
And there are like breeds that are a combination of have softness and longevity, or things that aren't as itchy as they seem. Like Lopi is a good example of that, because I finished my Forager sweater a couple weeks ago, and this is used Lopi, which is an unspun.
So different. These two feels are so
but
different.
I'm wearing a t-shirt, I think, underneath, and I'm comfortable in it, because it's not super tight either. It has a lot of ease to it, purposefully in the design and in the arms too. These are probably the biggest sweater arms I've never knit, and I was worried about it when I knit them. Like, are they going to be like too baggy? And they're not. I mean, the more that I bend the elbow, the more baggy the elbow will be. But I'm not uncomfortable in it. If it was really hot in here, I think I would be.
Yeah.
And that's I think there's also the thing of like people that don't like wool either have no experience with it really because they're in younger generations, or they were I just think that there were people out there that were put into really scratchy wool sweaters when they were younger, and that were too tight, and they were really uncomfortable with it, and so they sort of got that idea that wool can be scratchy and uncomfortable. And I think scratchier wools, I mean, I'm not sensitive to it. Plus, I love it, so I sort of have pushed through and just worn things even, like the mohair that everyone is knitting with now can seem itchy, but someone described it, I think it was Molly from Homespun House described it as you wear it, it warms up, and then it feels more comfortable, I guess. But I don't know if that has any.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel that way about the scarf.
Well, any time that we've had, and when people have come over, and we put this one on, this Linus one, which I wear all the time, we have people like, try this on, and everyone's response is, oh. That's the first thing out of them. Can I just wear it for a little while? I'll just stay in here, because it is actually really lovely, and it's not tight, so it's just nice and fuzzy and made with Homespun House.
And I made it.
And she made it. And so I just don't like the idea of, not enjoying any particular fiber. It's a wool fiber, really. I mean, I don't like cotton so much. But actually, there are washcloths here at the house that are made out of cotton, and I really like using those for that purpose. They're really great.
Yeah.
They absorb water really nicely. And a lot of synthetic towels, like Terry takes water really well, but like microfiber towels don't absorb very well. I just spread it around. And so it's nice to actually have a cotton fiber that absorbs water.
I should make washcloths out of all that cotton yarn you got.
Oh, yeah. You should hold them double.
Yeah.
You should do 2 colors together or something.
Because I do. I like the thickness of the washcloths that are knitted in cotton, and there's just enough texture that you can use them to get residue off your dishes.
Yeah, they abrase nicely because they have some structure to it.
Yeah.
But I am wool focused, but I don't want to exclude any kind of wool, really. Yeah, Brooklyn Tweed, I think, is another wool that is longer lasting than their Columbia Targi mix. that's soft. And I don't think you would, I mean, it's soft, but it's not as soft as like cashmere or a super wash merino. I mean, I think the level of softness scale is so much bigger and larger than we, depending on how many plies it is, and how fine a merino it is. And so just always going for softness doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happy with your product. I have a virgin merino wool, or baby merino, I think it's like the first shearing sweater made out of that from Malabrigo. And I mean, even just knitting with it, I could tell that it was going to pill. And like the underarms are totally felted. I've worn it maybe a few months now. And so that's just it's going to get holes eventually because it's so soft and isn't tightly spun that it just doesn't have the structure to handle being abrased and frictioned.
So what kind of yarn would you buy if you wanted to make a lightweight sweater?
Brooklyn tweed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of wools out there that I don't even know about.
Right.
So when people start asking me, there are wools that come to mind really quickly, but those are just the ones that I'm more aware of. So when people talk about softness and longevity, Brooklyn tweed comes to mind. Brooklyn tweed shelter and loft. But they're harder yarns to work with in some ways because they bloom. When they get blocked, they grow and expand. And so for me, it's hard to get gauge with those yarns with other people's patterns. Also, loft is lightly spun, so it can break as you're pulling it from the ball, but it's strong once it's like this. This was an unspun Lopi. I showed you how easy. Yeah. I mean, I broke it probably, 50 times as I was pulling it off. The plates, they're like flat plates. Probably showed it on that podcast. I would just lay the Lopi back, two ends back on top of each other. I didn't even spit and splice them. I just laid them back on top of each other and kept knitting because I knew that the mohair strand, particularly in there, would, and when it was actually a solid fabric, it was going to be strong. I don't know how it'll wear over the years because I don't have that personal experience, but I'm thinking it'll last a while. It might lose its shape, like become less defined maybe, but I don't know. We'll see. Interesting. I don't mind, I guess. It's a really nice color. I'm really happy with it. So, yeah. I think it's important for knitters at some point to find out about wools and try using things that are not soft, just because they'll last longer and you'll be enjoying your knits for longer than a super wash merino that's just really soft.
Yeah. Yes, I bought the pattern for Hohi's new sweater, Pebble.
The tunic one?
It's a tunic. It's nice and boxy. It looks really comfortable. So, yeah. I mean, I'm not ready to buy wool, but I'm just thinking, like, what
you would get.
She's made it out of a very neutral speckle wool. But, I mean, I like the idea of maybe having some speckles.
You should look at the yarn she suggests.
Yes.
And look at what they say about it. And see if you can figure out what those things mean. And find a different. I have a book from the library called Yarn Substitutions that I haven't cracked into yet. And also then Clara Parks' book about to pick a similar.
Yeah.
People can substitute with whatever they want, but depending on what they choose, it could dramatically change the look.
That's right. And
so it's kind of a slinky, drapey fabric.
Yeah.
Just picture, but I don't know.
Well, I don't want that light of a color.
The color is not the important part in this discussion, at least.
But sometimes we feel like, if
we
I'm
pick
going
a color
to...
based on, I really like that color, but that doesn't necessarily mean the yarn that the color that's sitting in front of us is a good idea for that project.
Okay. So anyway.
Yeah. Just like when you asked me if there was going to be, if people could use a thinner weight yarn for my meat cube shawl. And I was like, well, they could, but all the numbers are going to be different. So it would be a different project, which I think I might do at some point. might knit a sample in a thinner weight and then write it up as a different pattern. Yeah, do you want to show them your Melody Hoffmann?
Yeah, so this was a gift, both the pattern and the yarn.
Although I didn't pair them together because I made a mistake. I was looking for a fingering weight pattern, and the pattern I picked was actually for Aran weight. I don't know how I made that mistake. So, but I had given you another yarn,
which
was fingering weight,
which I would have happily used, but it was the wrong weight. So, well, yeah, here I am.
You're knitting Homestead by Melody Hoffmann of Bee Mandarins, but which is written for Aran weight, but you're actually using DK and then fingering. So you're actually not doing what
I know. I'm just cobbling together.
It's what's written as anyway. Yeah.
And I decided
different colors
that I wanted to use a very neutral shade.
Angle it the other way. So this arm is forward and this arm is backward. There you go.
I wanted to use a real neutral shade in the middle so that the different stitches were more visible than in the speckled yarn. And then I'm going to end, of course, with the...
But look how big it is.
Yeah.
It's really not the size it needs to be.
Well, it's a big shawl.
I know, but you're going to end... Are you going to do another stripe?
I'm going to go like out to here.
But that's still not going to be big enough to wrap around you.
Really?
Yeah. The problem is you're following directions written for a yarn much larger than this.
Oh.
So you are not anywhere close to being done. If you actually want there to be tails.
So I'm going to have to do another neutral section?
You could. I mean, think about how much of this there is sitting down here. If you do a shorter and an ends here, they tend to fall off. So unless you're going to be just sitting and wearing it, I mean, this sucker is not very deep, but it is very long. I would say it's at least 6 feet, if not longer.
That's true.
And you have like...
I don't have an idea of what this is going to...
You have maybe 3 here. Now you could stretch it out, and that would help you. But I would say you definitely need at least one more neutral section. But the pattern is written for that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this cute progress keeper. You haven't seen that.
That's little ladybug. Did you get it?
My little ladybug.
Aww. Cute. I saw it on Instagram. Did she have that one before?
So anyway, that's my after the sweater, or I've been doing it while I've been working on the sweater. I like to have 2 projects. One gets, like, I get stuck in one, or I made a mistake and I get discouraged, and there's something else to pick up right away.
Yeah. Look at that wiggle there.
Yeah, because this has an interesting...
Do you like this project?
Yes.
Okay. You're enjoying it?
Yes,
You're enjoying the yarn?
I am enjoying
I said the yarn, even though I purchased the yarn, I said to her, it looks like a bruised skin.
I know, she did. I said,
you didn't like that.
And
I was like, well, I'm just saying that just kind of noticed that. Black and blue.
Well, you gave it to me.
I know.
You must have liked it when you saw it.
I did like it. It's Sugar Bush. Hand-dyed yarn from Canada. So what else are you going to then? If you're going to finish this sweater, then
what am I going to
And
start?
that obviously is going to be much longer than you thought, which is good because you have an extra skein. Like I said,
yes.
3 of those purple and pink skeins. So, do you have much of the neutral left?
A whole book.
There you go.
I can make it forever.
That's the thing about fingering weight shawls, is that they are very long.
Yeah.
Usually. The pink one over there that I'm not going to show people yet. You have to wait. It is knit with a Homespun House non-superwash merino Dale in rose gold. Feel how soft that one is. Nice. That is going to be at least as long as this one, and probably deeper. But gonna be, I mean, it's fingering weight. It's going to be big. It's really fun to work on right now because the rows are really short. And then I know that when the rows get long, I'm like, it's so long to get across.
It takes an hour or 2 hours to go across one
I think
row.
it's more frustrating for me to knit fingering weight shawls of my own design because I'm trying to finish, and it seems like it takes forever. And I'm like, oh, the test knitters are gonna be knitting forever. And actually, like the test knit for Meet Cute, they're almost all done.
Are they?
I have to check in with everybody again today, but a lot of them were at the last seed stitch section, and they haven't even been working on it at that point for 2 weeks yet. So I was like, dang.
Wow, they're fast.
Yeah, because they're not, figuring it out and writing it down as they're knitting it. So it took me a long time. So, yeah.
Yep. So your question is, what will my second project be?
What are you interested in doing next?
Well, I was going to try color work on those slippers.
I think I've already forgotten what they were, but that's okay.
Well,
you've told me multiple times and I keep forgetting.
It's a pattern designer with the Instagram name Scandawork. And I sent her a direct message and asked her, if I've never done color work before, what pattern would you suggest? And it was a pair of slippers with 2 colors. She said this would be a good introductory pattern.
Yeah, I think the first color work I did was the
slippers?
Wanderer Slippers by Andrew Mowry.
Yeah.
Which I still wear all the time.
Thinking of that because I'm not ready to invest $100 for the Pebbles sweater.
Oh, it's going to be more than $100. Probably with your tastes. Could be more than that.
So anyway,
how much did you spend on the
first
Luft? Was like $300, wasn't it?
Oh, not quite 300.
I remember being like, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
I know.
Really sure.
And I was sure. And money's gone, so now I don't regret it. But
I do always, when you talk about being cold, I say, why are you wearing your sweater?
I know. That's what my husband now is starting to say.
Why
are you wearing your sweater?
Well, I was thinking about how much time. I mean, I'm not at home right now, but when I am home, I am often turning the heat down. I probably have mentioned that on the podcast before. I'm always turning the heat down because I'm wearing a lot of sweaters and I want to wear shawls and things. So it's better for the electric bill.
Sure.
If we're wearing our wool stuff.
Yeah.
And being here with the fireplace and everything too, sometimes I'm sitting here in a t-shirt. It's too hot. Because it's just, darn it, it's just not cold enough here. Although it was supposed to snow last night, but it didn't. Did you see that in the weather?
It snowed this morning.
Did it?
Mm-hmm. We had about a half an hour of
no
actual
evidence.
snowflakes.
What time was that at?
When I was leaving the athletic club at 7, it was snowing.
I was asleep.
But the temperature was 37.
Yeah.
So it couldn't collect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we've been working on. January is finally over. A lot of people said that on Instagram, which I never really heard. I must either not paying attention or I've never heard people lament so hard about a month being over before. It's just really hard for people. It rains so much here. I mean, inches and inches and inches.
Yep.
The conversation about the weather becomes incredibly important all of a sudden when we've been subjected to days and days of pouring rain.
Yeah.
It's really unusual here that it can rain so much. What people used to say about Seattle in the 90s, it rains 9 months out of the year here, and it doesn't actually, or it hasn't, but it definitely rained. And someone else commented too that if we get a lot of rain in the winter, we actually don't have as much forest fire. So that's what I was thinking, try to be positive.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't have forest fires this year in Washington, or at least we don't really get them in the western side of the state. We really get them actually in the Cascades, eastern side. Canada gets it really bad, and also then of course Oregon, western or eastern Oregon, and then northern California. So we're kind of blocked in. There was one year, I don't think it was last year, it was the year before, where if you looked at the forest fire map online, it was literally like this whole section, except for where we were, but it was everything was burning all around us, and the air quality was so bad. And then I remember being in Portland, Oregon, getting my hair cut, and somebody said to me, if this is going to be like this all the time, every summer, it's going to affect people wanting to live here. So, and it just hasn't been raining as much, maybe as it used to. So,
well, the rain has been pretty intense. If downtown, just not too far out of town, there's a
on the island
by the country store, not too far out of town, they have a low place.
Right.
Their store itself is up on the small knoll, but the
grass area is just like a pond.
And and laughingly, people have started calling it Center Lake.
Well, and it used to always be like that in the winter. And when I saw it the other day, I was like, oh yeah, look at that. That's totally how it always was. They have all those raspberries growing there, and I wonder, did they always have raspberries growing there? Or did it dry out enough that they could plant them? The raspberries aren't underwater, but I remember that whole lawn being underwater before.
Yes, and sometimes it came across the road. So we really haven't seen that this time.
Okay.
So
but there have been other spots that are like by the Minglement and Art Center. They have water on the road there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think we've just been through a drier decade or something. Hopefully we're back to our wetter decade so we don't have forest fires, but it was really hard to sit here
and to have such gray
and all that. There were a lot of bad things that were happening in January. I don't want to list them, but there were a lot of world events that were just a hard month. So we're all glad it's over. Doesn't mean that February is going to be better, but at least we're calling it something else.
Yep. So are you showing anything, or you said you've already done that?
I talked about my socks. I talked about the hat. I talked about the talk I was going to start. I can't show the design yet. I can just talk about the yarn. So I think I am. I mean, I was able to talk about the sweater today when it was blocking when we tried to record before. So yeah. What are you going to do with the rest of your day?
What am I going to do with the rest of my day? Well, this is a week where I'm rehearsing for piano recitals.
When's the recital on Saturday?
So I will have every afternoon at the venue where I hold the recital. I'll have receiving students there and either feeling satisfied that things will go well or feeling great anxiety and horror that things do not sound good enough to perform. And there was always going to be a few kids that
aren't ready.
It's like they don't believe. Maybe it's something to do with their maturity, but they don't understand the amount of time it takes, the amount of repetitions, and the amount of time it takes to be secure in a performance. Right. They get a little cocky because they think, well, I
played it well
it
that one time.
Yeah, I played it, and it's going fine. And
the pressure changes, though.
The challenge I gave them all is you need to play your piece 3 times this week in front of somebody, so to add enough distraction that you feel a little pressure, because that's real. That's performance. And if you can do that without many problems, then you can relax. But if you're falling apart because your dad is sitting there listening to you,
there's just a lot of people staring at you. I had a piano recital once where I played those 3 minuet.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I didn't. In fact, the teacher was worried that I was going to be devastated, and I think I was just relieved it was over. And I didn't have any other emotional responses to that I had done so terribly. But I remember I don't even remember. The funny thing is, I don't remember visually playing it. I remember it more like watching myself play it. I know, which is odd, because of course I didn't watch myself play it. So.
Well, it's kind of hard to focus on the music if you are watching yourself.
Well, I don't like being in front of people. I never have.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not like a career choice for me.
So it's going to be an interesting week, but I try to hold pretty relaxed recitals, so
yeah,
nobody does suffer
well, it is a little bit
damage.
Intimidating because you're at that church with this pulpit, so they have to go up above everybody else, and they're kind of far away, and it feels big. And
it is on a big grand piano.
I don't think I ever played there.
No?
I think the only one I played when I was taking piano lessons from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I probably would not have ever said he agreed to play for you. You're like, no, I'm not doing that.
No way.
Therefore, I'm not going to do it. No one tells me what to do.
I know. I have a few that are claiming, a few students, maybe two, that are claiming that they are still left my house last week going, I am not going to do this. Their mother said, you are going to do this. So we'll see how this week,
Oh, yeah.
which is one reason I have them rehearse in the venue,
Yeah.
is they need to see themselves actually
Real space.
doing it and relax into it. So that's what I'm going to be doing today.
My day off, so
What are you going to do?
I really like days off to be like, day off to means that I have nothing that I have to do and that I don't have to leave the house, which is kind of asking a lot. Because then if there's a bunch of things that I have to do, errands and stuff, then I feel like I worked, and then I feel like I got gypped, and I don't think that's anyone else's definition of a day off. I think that just means they're not being on the clock getting paid. But for me, because I work for myself, those lines are blurry. But I really do want to work on that design, so I may have to do some work, and then someone's going to come hang out with me today.
Well, sounds good.
Yeah. It's Monday.
It is Monday.
The week goes too
a
fast.
great day.
Once we get to Wednesday, I feel like it's over already. So, it's like Mondays, you gotta really be in the present moment Monday. Otherwise, it feels like it didn't happen. Tuesday kind of feels the same as Wednesday, and it's just how it is. Okay, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you're sitting here listening to us, I am very appreciative.
Yeah, hopefully when we hit pause and save, that this will be public. We'll be able to publish it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.